My name is Josh Hjartarson. I'm the Vice President of the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. We represent 60,000 businesses across this great province of ours. Large, small, every sector of the economy represented. Thank you, Debbie. This is the second time that I am here at this AGM. And when I look across I'm struck each time by how big this sector is. I've always known it's important, but I always underestimate its girth. You are important players in this economy. You are important players in a key problem that we as an employer community are trying to address, and that is the labor market. You've probably been beaten to death by problem definition. I'm going to add to the problem definition, maybe talk some solutions, first order solutions and second order solutions, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the perception of your sector. And I realize I'm the only thing keeping you from your financial statements, so I will hurry up. Or if Debbie winks at me, I'll take as long as I need. So you let me know, Debbie. Okay, key priority. We have a transitioning economy. Everyone can see that. Our comparative advantage in the global economy has fundamentally shifted. The era of well-paid, medium-skilled to low-skilled jobs in the manufacturing sector is not gone, but it has been diluted. We also see global trend in industrial economies. We also see hollowing out of the middle. And that is growing inequality, largely due to technological advances. In The Economist 2 weeks ago, a fabulous survey of the world economy, 47% of the jobs in the US in the next 20 years are at risk of being automated. There's profound implications for the middle class, and I would also say profound implications for the precariously employed, because they're going to feel further squeezed in this labor market. We're also aging, right? 13% of us in Ontario today are of retirement age. By 2035, it will be a quarter. Our tax base will shrink as a result, putting more pressure on programs and services, which I will talk about in a few minutes. So we face the classic labor market paradox: jobs without people, and people without jobs, okay? And there's this perception, and I'm not saying it's real, but 30% of our members say they're having trouble filling vacancies. Now, we have terrible labor market data in this province. We have terrible labor market data in this country. We're all the victim of anecdote, and we are writing our public policies based on anecdote, and that is unacceptable. I digress. So I'm going to get into the solution space. Okay, there's the three broad solution buckets: skilling up, working on our training programs, et cetera. And we see a shift to more and more demand-driven, employer-driven training, such as the Canada-Ontario Job Grant. Designed properly, they can work. I like them, with a caveat: designed properly. We also see the rise of active labor market programs for the precariously employed, for example, people with disabilities, new immigrants, et cetera. Targeted programs, that is positive. The Ontario Chamber of Commerce is in that space in a big way. Another solution, of course, is immigration. And I think all of us here would agree that the old system of immigration is broken. These long queues, people waiting in line, 2, 3 years, and so on and so forth, is broken. The way we traditionally view the immigrant role in the labor force is broken. We need to do a better job on all accounts. I don't think anyone here would disagree with me. Or maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm completely wrong. I rewrote this 3 times while I was up here, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so we have the express entry system. And so this is where I'm going to go into sort of what I think are the second order solutions. So the express entry system, what boggles my mind right now, and if you're from CIC, you're going to want to close your ears right now. What boggles my mind is the federal government advertised the Canada Job Grant a year before it was even in place. We are 2 months away from the express entry, and despite my best efforts, 85% of my members don't know what the hell it is. Yeah, I like that feedback. I'm going to go for more. Okay. So that is deeply concerning, and I understand that it is a political problem for government because they can't talk about immigration and making it easier for employers to hire immigrants, right? It's a political problem. So I'm stepping up, my organization is stepping up. We're trying to educate people about what is an opportunity, and it is an opportunity designed properly, which gets me to my next set of recommendations. One, you have to minimize the burdens, okay? I'm really concerned about what I perceive as the Brothers Restaurant syndrome. Brothers Restaurant, the restaurant in Saskatchewan, fired its employees and brought in temporary foreign workers. That is terrible. That is bad behavior. That is not good, and I would never condone that behavior. However, I'm also concerned that if you're going to introduce a demand-driven system where employers are at the heart of and playing that role of integrating immigrants and tapping labor pools, you can't have 13 pounds of paperwork, right? So you have to strike a balance between integrity and usability, and I'm worried that one case of fraud is going to screw the whole system up because it'll be political reaction and it's going to grind to a halt. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it. Fraud will happen. People are going to use the express entry system to bring in family class immigrants. That's going to happen. It's tragic. It's bad behavior. Let's prevent it. Let's use the police, all of the laws, et cetera, et cetera. But nonetheless, we can't gum up the system if you want employers to participate in a meaningful way. Also, we've heard that processing times will take about 6 months. Once the initial sort of application linkage between employers made, that's terrible. It's too long. 6 months, right? Who amongst us, the employer community, can say, I can wait 6 months? Sure, I have an opening today. Oh, wait 6 months. Now, it could be that you're a large bank or a large firm, industrial firm, and you can predict your labor market needs, but 85% of us are employed in the small firm, small, medium-sized sector. Who amongst the small businesses that you know can wait 6 months? It's a challenge. We must be the fastest, most efficient system in the world. Why can't we strive to be that? Okay. The third, and I've already talked about it, I thought we were friends. I complimented you. That's okay. I'm almost done. Is market the system? It's a shame that no one knows about it. And it's a shame that we're still waiting for some of the key design parameters. It's a shame. So on the express entry, I'm net positive with a lot of caveats that you can see. I am the Socratic gadfly in the ass of CIC. Get it right, market it right, get it going. Let's roll here. Okay, this is consequential. This is the system by which we're, selecting future Canadians. We need, all of our net labor force growth is going to come from immigration. We're aging. We need the system to work. The next order of recommendation is going to be at the community level. And so we produced a report about 8 months ago on express entry called Think Fast. And we recognize that communities have to step up their game, particularly in Ontario. Ontario has been a passive actor in immigration. Why? Because we could afford to be. Immigrants chose us, right? Other provinces have ramped up the games. The federal government has introduced P&P programs and has distorted the allocation of immigrants away from Ontario. Don't get me started. And nonetheless, this is kind of like a zero-sum game. We are competing globally and we are competing within the country interprovincially for immigrants. And the difference makers, I suggest, will be the communities, right? The ability to help SMEs onboard new immigrants. That is going to be crucial. Allowing SMEs, lowering the search costs for SMEs so they can tap the system. So they know that they can think about this idea that, hey, when this person arrives, they need to know how to get a driver's license, right? That they have onboarding strategies. That is how communities will succeed, and I think there's a crucial role for members of OCASI, is to help SMEs participate in this system in a constructive way, okay? The employer role, third set of micro, is I know I represent an employer organization, and I always get in trouble when I say this, but employers have a public good problem. And the way that I describe it is employers in this province, employers in this country, the continent, but particularly in Canada, tend to look at the labor force as a public good. That is, government says, here you go, here's your labor force. And as a result, so they look upon it as a government problem, a public good. We underinvest and we underengage. We have to change that, and that's the role of the Ontario Chamber. We want to play a moral suasion role to get employers more engaged, because if we do not, countries that do, like Germany, like Sweden, like Switzerland, will continue to pass us by. We need to invest more, and we need to engage precariously employed, such as people with disabilities, such as new immigrants, et cetera, et cetera. We need to do a better job. The last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to talk about you for a minute. I'm going to talk about you from a position of naivety, so I hope I get out of here alive. So I'm going to give you what I think are potentially hard facts about this sector. First of all, I want to say that Debbie does a fabulous job. She's been a fabulous partner, and we have included her in everything that she can. She was our guest at the Economic Summit. We recognize the scale and scope of the problem, and that us doing a better job, so Debbie is our partner. The one thing I will say about this sector is that it looks very fragmented. It looks very overlapping, right? From the sense that from an employer, if we need services, where do we go to? It seems very fragmented to me. It also, and this is probably the most, I've said a few controversial things, it probably might also seem a little controversial, I mean, most controversial thing I'll say, is I'm not sure the incentives in the system and the design of the system is oriented towards the best possible outcomes, okay? I look at the granting mechanisms, not in this space, but also in the training in colleges, university space, et cetera. Are we rewarding for outcomes? Are we allowing the best in the business to capture more and more of the market? It's a challenge. It's something we call the public sector economy. You function in an economic space. Government is a key actor, and the markets it designs are key in delivering public programs. You are deliverers of public programs. And so I think we have to challenge, and go back to my earlier comment about the need to do more with less, our tax base is shrinking, and so on and so forth, is I think we actually need to rethink somewhat this market. So those that are doing really good jobs can capture more of it, so that the proper outcomes are incented. I have ideas, too many to talk about here, but I can't wait for your questions. So, thank you.